Welcome everyone to Psychology of Play, our very first live lecture for week one. My name is Stephanie Fetrin. I'm one of the instructors for Psychology of Play. You'll be hearing from a different instructor each week in our go-to training sessions, which are from 2 to 4 o'clock. So for any reason you can't stay for the whole 2 hours, that's fine. You can always go back. The sessions are recorded and you can view them another time. So thanks everyone for kind of hanging out in the chat box and talking to each other. It's nice to see that you can actually meet some students and go to training that you might not see in your class. So that's one of the cool things about hearing from a different instructor each week is that we team teach. So you're with either Wendy or Jennifer as your instructor or Jessica. So actually, I have a slide for that. Woo! Here we go. So here, hopefully you notice your instructor is here on this page. These are your Psychology of Play instructors you'll be hearing from me this week, and then a different instructor each week after that. We have 4 weeks of go-to trainings. So thank you for everyone that was able to attend live today. I know that's not always easy to do. We have a lot of things going on. But today, basically what we're going to do is, for the first hour, we are going to talk about the class. You just probably ended your first class, CRP, and we're starting a brand new class on Monday, and sometimes it's really tough to switch gears because sometimes assignment deadlines are different and the class layout is set up different, and you might feel overwhelmed looking at all the activities that you have to do for the month. So this first hour is basically just to calm your nerves, kind of explain and go through all the assignments so you guys are starting off on the right foot in week one. Then for our second hour, we're going to be talking about some of the content that's in the reading material this week. You do not have a textbook in this class. All the readings that you need to be doing are on the platform directly, and sometimes we have links that take you to Safari books in the bonus materials. But other than that, everything's really going to be on the platform for you. So I'm going to make sure that we kind of go over a little bit what the platform looks like for this class. But first, hopefully you guys know how to use the go-to training control panel by now. This is what it looks like if you're on your computer. There's also an app that you can download on your phone if you are on the go, and you can always listen and chime in that way. But the most important one for today is probably just going to be the raising hand button, which is this P, this little button here with the hand. If you push that, that'll raise your hand, and then I'll know that you have a question, and then you can I can unmute you and you can ask on the microphone, because sometimes the chat box goes really quick. There's 28 people in here, so if everyone starts typing right away, I can't always see your question, or it scrolls up too fast. So that's another way to kind of let me know that you want to comment or ask something. All right. So inside the platform, hopefully, well, obviously all of you have already been in the platform because you had to find the link to register for today's session. And you're going to see a lot of different things on this page. Hopefully by now you know what this little bell is for up at the top for your notifications of when things are graded, when people reply to you, that kind of thing. And then right next to that is your little message button. So in case you send a message to your instructor and your instructor writes back, that would be there. Or let's say you want to reach out to one of your classmates privately, you can do that there, or you can send something to multiple classmates. So definitely something to take advantage of. Most of us instructors really don't use our email for anything. We don't accept assignments by email. Everything that we do is pretty much on the platform, which makes it really easy for us to just go on the platform and see everything that we need from you guys. So that being said, though, you still need to check your email quite often, because you will be getting Full Sail related things in your email, just not necessarily from this class. So what else is important here? So as you can see, you have some things to start working on. I know it's only Tuesday, but you do have an assignment due tonight. So that's why we're going to go over it today, so you guys know what you're doing. Obviously, you're going to start from the top and work your way down with these getting started activities. There's 4. There's a meet your instructor, a roadmap, talks about professionalism, troubleshooting, and resources. So make sure you're reviewing those and kind of checking them off as you go along. And they have those handy dandy circles on the side so you can kind of see your progress as you get things done. So what is the class structure? Hopefully your eyes didn't look like this when you were opening up the platform. So let me just put it up here for you guys so you can see. So let's see. Like we just talked about the getting started thing. So this week, we will see the different activities. You have 8 activities to do this week. As you complete them, the circle will fill up and the due dates are here, what day it opens and what day it's due. Hopefully you guys are all familiar with this. It's just a review. So what are you going to be working on this week? You're going to have your E3 assessment that's due Tuesday. Really quick, only takes about 15 minutes. Okay, so make sure you're doing that by tonight. Live lecture, here we are right now, right? 1.3 weekly plan is also due Tuesday. Okay, so that's something we're going to go over as well. So if you haven't started the reading yet, at least read the first reading, the 1.4 reading, because that talks about how to do your weekly plan as well and some concepts that are on that. So I would suggest starting with that today, and then maybe a couple of days later, you could be reading the next one. Initial post is due on Thursday, so that's your discussion board. And your brain teaser is basically an open book test due on Sunday each week. You see the 1.8 materials. This is bonus material, which means if you have time, you get everything done, and you're really interested in the information that we're giving you, that's some extra material that you can dive a little bit deeper into. So we're going to go through these activities kind of one by one. But first, let me just point out really quick, I forgot this one, the 1.0 community board. That is a place where you can go ahead and talk to your classmates, introduce yourself, post anything that you're working on, ask questions. It's basically a place for you guys like to just do whatever you feel you're desired to do there. And sometimes your instructor will post on there as well. Okay, I'm asked a question. Will the brain teasers always be open book? Yes, that is correct. We put that there as a reminder because when I'll talk about in the brain teasers in a minute, all of the I was going to say answers, but all the answers pretty much are in the reading. So you can have the readings open in one tab and the quiz open in another, and then just refer back to the reading so you can have it all kind of right there. So that makes it a little bit easier, right? Okay. All right, so let me get back into my slides here. Okay, so hopefully that doesn't seem like a lot. And we get a lot of feedback in this class that the first week everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's a lot due. But once you see the class structure, you're going to realize that it's the same each week. So that means you're always going to have your plans due on Tuesday. You're always going to have your discussion initial post due on Thursday. You're always going to have your brain teaser and reply post due on Sunday. So you're going to get the hang of it after the first week, and it's going to be like, okay, I know what days I need to get things done. So one of the things you need to be doing today is the E3 pre-assessment. Catherine said she was a tad overwhelmed to begin with. Yeah, and that's why I want to spend some time breaking this down and kind of ease your mind that it's gonna seem overwhelming at first, but once you start getting into your assignments and get these, for example, you're going to do 2 tonight, and then you'll have those 2 off your plate for the week, right? Quentin says E3 was pretty spot on. It was scary accurate for me, says Emma. Okay, so a lot of you guys already did it. Awesome. So you're going to just fill out this little questionnaire when you log on, enter your information. And basically the E3 it's not a personality test. It's basically about your current behaviors, okay? It's a list of words that might describe your behaviors in this current moment. So you just kind of click on things, and then what you're going to do is it's going to give you results. Okay, so sent to your full cell email, you're going to get these 3 things. You're going to get this little pretty looking chart where you can hover over each of the little dots to see what they mean, because you're probably like, what are all those letters? I don't get it. Number 2 is the essential scale definition. So what do those letters mean? What does ES mean? So AGG, what does that mean? Okay, that means aggression. Okay, what is aggression? And then it will give you a definition. And you can see how your score relates to your behaviors, right? And then number 3, you'll get the student report. So that tells you like, hey, here's some of your key behavior attributes. Here's where you can grow. Here's where you can make changes. It kind of gives you some recommendations. So that's something that you want to keep in mind, because this month, this class is about self-reflection. It's about balancing your life and working kind of on yourself. I know your last class was kind of like presenting yourself to others. This class is a lot more introspective, of course, because it's psychology. So once see those results, pick one or two things that you might want to work on this month personally, because that's what we're really going to be focusing on is your personal stuff this month. So we'll get more into that in the second half of this session. So like I said, you have a basic to-do list each week. Weekly plans, discussion post, reply post, brain teaser. Now, these are graded activities. The ones that aren't included on here are the E3, which you do in week 1 and you do in week 4, okay? Because we're going to test in the beginning and then you're going to test yourself at the end and compare your results and say, hey, did I make any changes this month? And if I did, what were they and what was that about, right? So it's a way to kind of further assess yourself and what you've done throughout the month. So we hope that by the end of the month, you'll see some positive changes based on the things that you're learning in this class. Okay, so what do your instructors expect from you for these assignments? This is important. This class can be challenging if you don't follow directions. Okay, so if you follow our directions and you pay attention today, you hear what we're looking for, it would be very difficult. People that fail this class because they don't turn in assignments. People don't fail. Most of the time, people don't fail when they do the assignment. So they're pretty straightforward, but you do need to, you will get points taken off if you don't follow the directions. So because you're writing kind of about personal stuff in this class, we are obviously not going to grade you on what specifically you're writing. We're going to be grading you on, did you answer the question? Did you provide examples? Did you talk about course concepts? That type of thing. Okay, so let's talk about your weekly plan. Raise your hand if you've done your weekly plan already. Use that little hand button. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, maybe about a little less than half of you have done it. Okay, so if you've already done this, you know what this is all about. Hopefully you read the instructions. Now, what's happened sometimes is people have done it and then they're like, oh, I really didn't do it that way. Like I kind of was confused. You can always resubmit it on an edited version before the deadline. That's not a problem. Your instructor will know to look at the most recent one. So what are some things that you guys that did it, what are some things that you guys put in the work category? Like what type of tasks could you put in the work category? Because this is the only category we have to actually have at least 3 things in some of the days. Okay, homework, schoolwork. Yes. Okay, great. Obviously, you guys all have that in common. Now, the one thing I want you to think about is being specific. Okay, so if you have work activities, like here's an example. Let's look at work. Okay, on Monday, I have do the 1.3 readings. Start the brain teaser, post on community board, right? So if you have homework on here, I don't want to see homework on Monday, homework on Tuesday, homework on Wednesday, homework on Thursday, homework on Friday, right? Be specific. What exactly are you going to work on? Well, if your weekly plan is due on Tuesday, I'm assuming you would probably do it on Monday or Tuesday, right? So you can be more specific. I also saw someone mentioned housework, right? Housework is work, right? So that would be things laundry, let's see what we have on here. Making doctor's appointments, errands, washing your car. Oh my gosh, I need a car wash so bad. Working on your resume, right? These are anything that's professionally or personally work related, you can add this in. Now, don't stress out about this. This is your schedule, okay? So what do you have to work on, okay? Like this isn't anything that we're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they put this in the work category. We're not here to judge or make opinions about what you have in each category. It's just basically what works for you and what work is for you. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the fun one. After work is play, right? So what are things that bring you joy? What are things that help you relax, recharge your batteries? What are some things that you guys like to do to play? Games. Emma says work in the garden. Chris says watch TV, write music, play video games. I'm reading what you guys are writing in the chat box. Netflix, music, write music, Minecraft, go to the beach, music. All right. So you guys have some ideas. Now, you might have a different activity each day for play, like on this plan, and it's just an example: skateboarding, basketball with brother, play PC games. So you might have a different play activity you do each day, or some people are creatures of habit, right? And they might do the same play activity each day, like play this specific game that I'm really into right now. You might have that every day for your play. It really depends on what you like to do. For me, I like to kind of do something different every day because I get sometimes I get bored. I need variety, and it's more exciting for me. Jennifer says coloring. Ooh, I like that. So it depends on you, right? This is your plan. So what do you want to? What do you think is considered play, and adding that activity for each day? Now, make sure, as you can see in this example, every single box is filled out. Okay, so you can see here on this plan, it says on Saturday, spontaneous Saturday. Okay, maybe you don't have something specific you want to do that day, but you know that you're going to do something playful, kind of spontaneously when it comes up, right? So just make sure every box is filled out. Okay, that's important, or else you'll get points off, because we want you to have a balanced plan, right? We want you to, this is called the work, play, fit, push plan, and you want to have all those 4 categories be kind of balanced. All right, any questions about play? Emma says, I have a bucket list of things I want to do before I move down to campus. That helps me fill my play category. Yeah, and you know what? That even might stretch into the push category. Push activities are usually things that we put off doing, that we are like, oh, I don't have time for that. I got too much other stuff. I have too much homework. I have too much, my job is too stressful. Like, those are things that, like, maybe like wanting to learn a new language, or, you know, let me see. I obviously am skipping over fit for a minute. Something that's going to help you learn and grow. Like, you could do some Lynda trainings on lynda.com. Go to the library, get a book, start writing something that you've been kind of putting off, or apply for a new job if you're not happy in your current position. Like, those are all push goals. Or you could, if you're really not super social in your online class, you could say, okay, my push goal is I'm going to write in the community. I'm going to push myself to write in the community board and talk to my classmates, right? Or network. So those are some ideas of things that you could do for push, something outside of your comfort zone, right? Because then that's when we're able to learn and grow. So I skipped over fit, so let's go back to fit. Fit can include any type of physical activity, any activity related to your health and mental well-being, physical well-being. It could be something like you want to drink more water because you don't drink enough water, and that would be beneficial to you. Or you want to work out, do certain physical activities, or you want to do some brain games to help work on your memory. I see you guys talking about the keto diet, I guess, in the chat box. So you could put a goal for that diet every day, something that you're going to do. Walking, you could just, it doesn't have to be a big thing. You might say, because I know for me, I have 2 toddlers, so I don't really get much time to fit, but I definitely walk at work. So we take walking breaks, and I try to get 10,000 steps a day. So you just got to try to find what fits in with your schedule. Don't stress out and put like running and 5 million push-ups on your fit every day, and then have these really big unrealistic goals like lose 20 pounds in a week, because that's not going to happen, right? And then you're going to feel disappointed when you're like, wow, I didn't really do that, did I? So Emma's like, 5 million push-ups, that's me. Yeah, it's not going to happen, right? So make sure that you're being realistic with your plan too, because you don't want to be disappointed if you can't reach those goals. And you know what? You're going to be doing this plan every week. So let's say the first week you're like, wow, I need to tone it down next week. That was too much. Okay, then pick smaller or shorter activities the following week. So you're going to be able to adapt with this until it becomes kind of habit. By week 4, you'll be like, okay, I got this. I know how to do my plan. I print it out. I hang it on my fridge. I follow it. And this is how it's working. Now, I know some of you are probably like, "Oh, I hate scheduling. This is what is this, a time management class? Like, I like to be spontaneous. I don't want to plan my day." Well, the good thing is, do you see any times on this plan? Like, I'm going to go for a walk from 8 to 8:30 a.m. No, right? It's very open. So as long as you know that each day you're going to have some type of play activity throughout that day, even if it's just a 5-minute thing or some type of fit, like just a walk, or you're going to take the stairs instead of the elevator. It doesn't have to be over the top. We just want you to start practicing balancing these areas of your life. So Emma says, do you want us to be more specific than run, or is that all we need in our plan? Okay, so if you're going to run, then just, yeah, run is fine. If you want to put goals for yourself, let's say you're trying to work your way up to a 5K, for example, but you want to start out small, like you might want to break that up into a different goal. Or Chad says, if I put gym, is that okay? Well, you might want to say, like, I'm going to do arms on Monday, and I'm going to do legs on Tuesday, and, that kind of thing. So Will says, I don't really know what I'm going to do. Or Catherine says, I usually have a vague idea. Okay. And the rest is spontaneous. Well, I'm going to challenge you guys that kind of just go with the flow. Try it for a week. Okay. So try to split it up and say, okay, I'm going to try to just focus on this body part or this area of my workout routine, or I'm going to do Zumba on Monday, and Tuesday I'm going to do yoga, or whatever it is. Try to change it up a bit and see how it goes. And then you can assess what you want to do in the following week. Okay. So Chris is a little bit worried about not knowing what's going to happen the next day. Yeah, sometimes that can happen. And that's why, these aren't things that are going to take up your entire day. Like on Friday, pay bills might only take 5 minutes. I mean, you might just need to check on something, right? So you're always going to still have time in your day for other things that might come up. Or, you know what? I've had students that said, okay, well, I just got the flu on Tuesday. So there goes my plan for the week, right? Those things are going to happen. We're human, and we don't expect you to follow your plan to a T. We're not going to take points and be like, you didn't work on your website like you said you were on Wednesday, 5 points off. We're not going to grade you on how successful you are with your plan. I promise, Chad, don't worry. So, we just want you to fill it out and then try to follow as best as you can. And if you don't, for some reason, you're going to talk about that in your discussion board post. Like, hey, I got the flu, and so my fit was drinking enough water while I was laying in bed and emailing my instructor my documentation from urgent care so I could get an extension on my assignment, So whatever it is, you might have to change it as you go along through the week. Okay, at the bottom of the plan, each week you're going to have different questions. Some people try to turn in the same plan each week, and I'm like, no, guys, they're color coded. We know the colors. Week 1's orange. We know. So make sure you're going and turning in that specific plan for each week. There are different questions each week that you're going to answer. This first one, you have 2 questions. So make sure you're writing at least a paragraph, and that will be... you won't get points off. If you just put 1 sentence for each of these questions, you will get points off. So please, a paragraph is 5 to 6 sentences. Make sure that you're elaborating on those questions so we can get an understanding of what you're going to be working on this month. Okay? Emma changed the color. Yeah, sometimes people might go in and make it look the way you want it to look, and that's okay. I just want to make sure that you're answering the correct questions from the bottom, and sometimes students do it and turn in the same plan each week, but that's how, we know sometimes. All right, any questions about the weekly plan before we move on? Chris said he used a backstory to account for the reasons why I want to accomplish these goals. Okay. Yep. Rogan says, do you give this template to us? Yes. So under the assignment, the weekly plan assignment, you're going to download the template in Word document or Excel document, and you're going to fill it in, and then you're going to upload it to the platform. So you don't have to create this on your own. You're going to get it. It's going to look like this, right? It's going to look blank. You're going to put your name in. You're going to type right in there and turn it in. Anything else? All right. Let's talk about, this is something that's in your reading. I'm just going to briefly mention what it is. This is something that you can read more about in the reading this week. Time batching is something that you could do to be more efficient. So let's say you need to go on errands, and you go to Target on Monday, and Tuesday you go to Walmart, and Wednesday you go to the library. right? You're going to be out in the car 3 separate times, and that's going to waste time, right? Whereas if you say, okay, on Friday, I'm going to do all my errands in one shot. So I'm going to go to all the stores I need to go and get that over with. That's called time batching. So you put like similar activities together in bunches, right? So that way you can be more effective with your time. So if you want to learn more about that, you're going to see that in your readings this week. Also, knowing peak performance time. Are you a lark, a hummingbird, or an owl? Right? So, larks are people that are morning people. They like to wake up early. That's when they're most productive. Hummingbirds are in between a lark and an owl is someone that's more productive, more awake, more alert at night in the night hours. So, determining what you are, which chronotype you are, is going to be helpful in how you plan your day, right? So if you're an owl and you try to get up at 7 a.m. and do your assignments for this class, it's probably not going to be your best work. So make sure that you're using your peak performance time to your advantage when possible. Obviously, there's times when you have to go to work for a certain hours of the day, and maybe that's not your peak performance time, but when you can, it's a good idea to try to work around that. Got some owls in here, yeah. So you're probably going to be up late doing those deadlines for assignments later, closer towards the deadline, right? And that's okay. It doesn't matter what time of day you do it, as long as it's going to be completed and that's your best time. Then that's when you got to do it. But oftentimes, like traditional school, you don't have that option, right? You have to go to school and take a test, maybe first thing in the morning. Whereas if you took that same test in the afternoon on your own time when you're feeling alert, might do better, right? So use that to your advantage with the online flexibility. Yeah, Joseph might be a hummingbird if you are kind of in between. Like you're not a super early morning person, you're not really a night person. Like that's what I am. Like if you wake me up at 6 a.m., which my daughter does practically every morning, and I try to get something done between 6 and 8, I'm like useless to the world. Like I can barely get out the house with my hairbrush. But if once I'm like at my desk or I'm like 10 o'clock rolls around, I have my coffee, I have my breakfast, my energy levels start to pick up, and that's when I'm more productive. So yes, coffee, Michael, we need coffee. That's some tips. There's some more tips, like someone said about multitasking and things like that in the readings that will kind of help you with managing your time, which is kind of what this first little bit of the class is about. All right, let's talk about the discussion board. Oh, wait, first, I forgot, I have a video. Can you guys go to your material section and click on Eat That Frog? It's a video. It's only like a minute and a half long. And when you're finished watching it, just type frog in the chat box and I'll know you're done. If you go to the material section in your control panel, click on the little arrow to expand it. You'll see there's links there. It's called Eat That Frog. All right, it looks like most of you guys are done. Eat the frog is just a little quick technique that will help you think about planning your day. When you look at your plan and you're like, oh my gosh, look at all these things I have to do on Wednesday. Whoa! Pick the hardest thing, the thing that you are most dreading. Pick the frog from that list and do it first. Get it over with. Then you will be like, oh, I already did that worst thing. Now I just got to do all these other things or the hardest thing. So you know, if homework is the hardest thing for you, you might want to do that first, get it out of the way, and then you can focus on other things like play and fit and push and those kind of things. So something else to think about, a little tip for planning your time. Let's move on and talk about the discussion board activity. Who's paying attention? When is your initial discussion board post due? Yes, Thursday. That's right. So each week you're going to have 6 questions to answer. Okay? They're very similar. Okay? Very similar. So each week you're basically going to be, for questions 1 through 4, reflecting on your plan that week. Each week is talking about a different part of your plan. Week 1, you're focusing on the play part of your plan. Week 2 is fit. Week 3 is work. Week 4 is push. Okay, so questions 1 through 4, reflecting on your plan. How's it going so far? Answer those questions, okay? Then questions 5 and 6, you're going to be reflecting on concepts from the class. Where do you find the concepts from the class at? Do, 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 do. Brian, you win the prize on the readings, right? So in your readings are the concepts. Okay, so what do I mean by concept? Okay, in week 1, we talk about multiple intelligences, play personalities, qualities of play, right? These are concepts, right? So specific things that you're learning, multitasking, time batching, peak performance time. These are all concepts, right? So you're going to talk about in question 5 concepts that you connected with. What did you enjoy talking about or reading? And explain it there. Now, when you mention a concept, it's helpful to bold it. That way your instructor's like, look, there's their concept. They got it. And then make sure you define it in your own words. You might remember what musical intelligence is, but someone else in your class might be like, what was that again? So just lay it all out right there. This is what it is. Provide an example. Oh, I have musical intelligence because when I was young, I could hear a tune and then immediately I could just play it. All right. I have a really high musical intelligence. I took the quiz and that's what I found. Right? Okay. Number 6 is, how are you going to apply that to your life? Well, I have a musical intelligence. Here's how I'm going to use that in my career as a music producer. ... Or my play personality is the creator. Here's how I'm going to use that in my life. ... Right? So you're giving examples of what you're going to do, not just saying, I'm going to play more, or my play personality is the Joker. I'm going to make people laugh. Let's try to write a college level paragraph for each question, which is 5 to 6 sentences. Okay. Now see how this is nicely labeled? This is an example that a student wrote in my last month. So he labeled 1 through 6. Hey, I can immediately see as an instructor, he did all 6 questions. Okay. I can count how many sentences he has. Okay, he has 5 to 6 sentences in each paragraph. I can see in questions 5 and 6 that he's mentioning course concepts and giving examples, explaining what they are, right? So that's what your initial post should look like, okay? Any questions about your initial post? This is for the discussion board. Yes, Chris. The discussion board initial post. There's 2 due dates for the discussion board. Initial post, Thursday. Reply post due what day? Yes, Sunday. Sunday. Next month. You're funny, Michael. All right. How many reply posts are you required to do? For those of you who have done the reading, maybe you haven't done it yet. That's okay. That's why we're going over it now. Minimum of 2. That's correct. Okay, you guys, most of you guys got that. So 2 or more, but you're not required to do more than 2. So if you want to stop at 2, go for it. Here's a reply post example. Now, while it would be lovely to just chitty chat with your classmates, say, "Oh yeah, I like that game too. It's really cool." Blah 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 about the game. That's cool when you're having, a conversation, a casual conversation with someone. But we want you to use the RISE model for meaningful feedback because, like we said, this class is about learning and growing, right? So we want you guys to help each other write better posts. So that's what your replies are going to be about. Okay. So these are the 4 categories of the RISE model, R-I-S-E, reflect, inquire, suggest, and elevate. If you're missing one of these 4 or 2 of these 4, 3 or 4 of these 4, you're going to get points off. Okay. So this is week 1, most students that get points off, it's because they didn't use the RISE model in both posts or they didn't write enough in their initial post. So make sure you're elaborating. Even if you take time and go back to it and finish it later to add more, because if you can't think of something, do that. Or sometimes you can talk it out, right? So have someone read you the question and answer it verbally and then write that down, because you tend to talk more when you talk out loud than if you write it down for some people. Okay, so try different things to make sure you're getting those paragraphs. So if this initial post has 4 categories, how many sentences should your, sorry, I'm reading, I need to change the slide. It says initial post example. Obviously it should say reply post example, sorry. So ignore that. Okay, so how many sentences should each reply post be? This is a trick question. I like that you guys are thinking 5 to 6. I don't know about 20, but typically it could be 5 to 6, but it could be as little as 4. Okay? So because there's 4 sentences. So if you're reflecting for question 1, hey, I totally see how you're the Joker personality. Your post is really funny. That's awesome. I wish I was like that. You go to the next one, inquire, asking them a question, right, about their post. Then you go to suggest. You're going to ask them, hey, have you thought about this? Or what, have you tried this? Or, maybe you know something about that. Find someone's post that you can relate to, but also someone that you can be helpful to. So if someone is mentioning they play basketball and they do this or that, and you're a basketball person, then yeah, write back to that person. Maybe you can suggest something else for them to try. And then elevate is the last step. A lot of students usually miss this one, but a good way to not forget it is just say, okay, what could they improve on in their post? So let's say you see one of your classmates only wrote 1 sentence for each question. You could say in elevate, I encourage you to elaborate more in your initial post so we can understand more about you, or whatever it is. So what can they do to improve? Okay, so 4 sentences minimum for the replies, 2 replies. Give inspiring feedback, says Chris. And you know what's funny? Sometimes students reply to the same classmates each week because you connect with someone and then you want to keep seeing what they're up to each week. I totally get that. However, sometimes people can't get to the reply post until later on the weekend because they work during the week or whatever it is, and their post is all the way at the bottom. And so a lot of people don't scroll down and read their post. So I encourage you to, try to reply to a different classmate each week just so you can get to know everybody a little bit better and, help everybody. And think about it as a networking thing. You're going to meet people in your class that you might form a connection with and collaborate with in the future. Chad says, do we reply to the reply? You can. If someone asks you a question, yeah, you're probably going to want to answer it, right? So go back and see if people reply to you so that you can reflect back or reply back to them. But that's not mandatory, Chad. No. And that also, good point. That doesn't count as a reply post. So if you reply to someone's reply to you, that does not count. So even if your little circle's filled up because you did 2 replies, you're going to get 10 points off because the reply posts are 20 points and you have to use the RISE model, right? Does that make sense? Good to know. Okay, I'm glad I mentioned that. Okay. Do you guys want to see the rubric? Let me show you the rubric real quick. Chris says, so we have to reply to 2 separate initial posts. That is correct. Great way to summarize, Chris. Thank you. All right, so let's go to initial post. Okay. I have a question for you. What happens if you don't do your initial post by Thursday deadline? Do you still do it? Yes, is the answer. Yes. Still do it. If you forget, it's a 10 points late deduction. Okay. So if you forget it's Saturday, you're like, oh my gosh, I never did my reply post. It's minus 10 points. Now, guess what? You want to make up that 10 points? Nope, just 10 points total, Chris. Okay. But you can make up that 10 points if you look here on the rubric, meets the initial post deadline or post initial post and replies to 3 classmates. So if you do 1 extra reply post instead of 2, you do 3, then you can make up those points. Because we understand we have 2 things due on Tuesday, and sometimes you forget, and we don't, we want you guys to be successful. 10 points every hour. No. You could do it on Sunday at 11 p.m. and do your replies at 11:30 p.m. and 3 of them. If you do 3 replies without missing a deadline, nothing happens. You get a pat on the back. No extra credit. You get a pat on the back, a virtual pat on the back. Hold on. Quick question. Do you suggest to wait until Thursday for the initial post so that we actually see how our models work for us? Yes. I had someone in my class already post their discussion board initial post today before they even made their plan. So clearly, I would not encourage that because you have nothing to talk about. Chad was like, I was going to do that. I think, Chad, you're a joker. We're going to learn about that in the next session. So yes, I encourage you to wait till Thursday if you can. I know that's not always the case. You might need to do it Wednesday or whatnot, but just start talking about what you're going to do, what in your plan you've done so far. If you've already done your plan, Chris, you can do it now, but you won't have much to talk about, right? You only have Monday and Tuesday. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. So, but you could also say, Chris, if Chad says I did all this week's work, okay, so you could say in your reflection, even though on my plan I kind of split things up, I was able to get all of my work done ahead of time, so I have more time to do X, Y, and Z. Chad's like, my plan is a lie, so I can just lie about it. Well, that's not the point. Remember, you're going to get out of this class what you put into it. So if you want to make up everything in your plan, I have no idea that, but what a waste of time. Hopefully you won't do that and you will just try it. Be open-minded. How about that? Okay. So this is a handy dandy rubric. Okay. It tells you how many points you get off for each of these categories. So when you get your grade, please look at this beautiful chart and please read what your instructor writes to you, because we're going to say, hey, you got 5 points off on this first category because you didn't write 5 to 6 sentences. In this category here, you got 5 points off because you didn't provide a specific example of how you are the Joker personality type, right? So we're going to give you that type of feedback, right? And it's going to help you make improvements. Okay, not many people get 100 the first week. Okay, so make sure you're reading that so you can make improvements. All right. Let's see what else we got here. The brain teaser. Open book, right? Like I said, keep the tab open. Keep your readings open. Refer back. Hey, I remember this question's asking about time batching. Let me find time batching and answer the question about that. It's multiple choice. There's 20 questions. So make sure, you're taking your time with that. The good thing about the brain teaser is you can start it and you don't have to finish it. So you can start answering questions and it will save your responses. But until you click submit, it's not going to submit your test. So if you want to do a little bit each day, 5 questions each day, you could do that if you wanted, or if you want to do it all at once and then submit it, that's fine. But once you push that submit button, there's nothing we can do to take it to open it up again. So be really careful that you're checking your answers. Make sure you have everything filled out because it's like the platform literally won't let us open it. Okay, James said, took me an hour. My workers kept coming in and distracting me. Yeah, so definitely something you're probably going to want to do in a distraction-free zone when you have time. Chris, you thought it had to be done all at once in order to save the answers. I'm 99% sure that you can do a little bit at a time and it saves your answers. But unless they've made a change that I'm not aware of. Okay. Any questions about the brain teaser? You'll be able to see what you got wrong. They're due on Sunday, right? So on Monday morning, you'll be able to see what you got wrong or right or whatever. It's automatically graded. Okay. Any questions about the brain teaser? Okay. Awesome. Questions about the class. We just went over a lot. Are you feeling overwhelmed still? Do you feel like it's not you have an understanding of what we expect, when deadlines are due, kind of how you're going to structure your work for the week? What are you guys thinking? Chad's excited. James is excited. All right, awesome. Okay, Emma said, I think it's a lot, but it's broken down well, and I think I'll be just fine. All right. Yeah, it is a lot. I mean, how many assignments do you have this week? But this is an accelerated program. 4-week classes doesn't happen in most places. So we cram it all in. But we try to also make it so if you do a little bit every day, you won't be overwhelmed. Don't save everything till the last minute. That's why we have this plan, right? Kind of splitting things up. I think I can. All right. Okay. Well, if we don't have any other questions, we can roll along into our next session. What do you think? And then we can get done early. Unless you guys need a break. No break. Keep going. Okay, let me see. Let's do a vote. Raise your hand if you would like a 5-minute break. Okay, only one person. So you can go take your break, and I promise there won't be too much that you miss. Okay. All right, we're just going to move on to the next session so we can get out of here a little early. Let me go on to my next slide. Boo. Poppy flowers. I don't even know what kind of flowers there are. They're my... Okay, anyway, you guys are distracting me. All right, second half, we're going to be talking about play history, play personalities, and what does play really mean? Like, what is this class all about? On the slide, you can see I have a weird picture here. So let me explain this so you're not like, what the heck is she doing? So this was at Full Sail. We had a cardboard challenge day. We got together in this big green room type sound stage, and with all these recyclable materials. We got into teams and we just made cool stuff out of recyclables, just to boost our creativity and have some fun and break up the day. And this was something we did as instructors, and we had a great time, and it just improved our teamwork. And we don't just talk about the value of play in this class, but we live it here. Yes, on campus. It's a little bit different, but we hope that you guys can have the spirit of play as well from wherever you are. So, what are our objectives today? So, we're going to be talking about, like I said, play history, play personality. We're going to review most of the readings from the week, the information in there, but not everything. So, make sure you're still doing the readings. So, let's be honest, when you guys saw your class Monday morning, psychology of play, what? What were your first thoughts? I put a poll out, so go ahead and choose one of those responses, please. All right, 70% of you had voted, so just waiting for a few more people. Okay, 10 seconds. All right, 90%. Let's see, we have 59% as the highest. I'm intrigued. What is this all about? Followed by, awesome, I love to play. All right. So that's great. I can tell you guys are going to be a good group this month. Definitely intriguing, right? Psychology of play is not, I don't think the class exists at any other university. We here at Full Sail, we don't just give you a boring psychology elective, right? Or I guess it's not an elective, you have to take a psychology class. But we're not going to give you a boring psychology class about Freud and psychological theories. We're going to give you a class that's related to what you guys are here doing, and being creative people, following your passion in creative environments in the entertainment world, right? So that's why we're going to have a class talking about play. But wait, adults have to be serious. What are you talking about, lady? I have job, I have kids, I gotta work. I don't have time to play. I wish I had time to play, but I don't. I have responsibilities. I gotta take care of things. I'm a grown up. Well, that's what our preconceived notion is about play, right? It's for kids. It's not for adults. Play is unproductive. Play is silly. It's a waste of time. We're adults. We need to get serious. I'm sure a lot of you in here, even as children, were playing too much and criticized for that, right? But take a minute and think about a person in your life that is all work and no play. Is that what you're striving for? You know? I like Brian. Play is for everyone, but tricks are for kids. That's my everyday. So I know that there are some of you who are, maybe half of you or more, are probably thinking, no, I get it. I like playing. I do it all the time. I probably do it too much. But there also might be some of you in here that are like, wow, I never really thought about play being important in my life right now. Like, I've been so focused on like my career goals and school and family and all these other things. Like, I didn't realize that this was something that I needed to focus on. And it looks like a bunch of you are definitely seeing the value of play already. So you'll definitely get what this class is all about. And if you don't, hopefully by the end of this session today, you will. Catherine says, if I don't play, I go a little crazy. Yeah, sometimes we need to be a little silly and goofy, right? What does that do for our mood? It boosts our mood. It boosts our creativity. It gives us a break from the seriousness of life. This is important. Just because we're adults doesn't mean that desire to play goes away. It's something that will be with us forever. So please go to the materials section and watch Elevator Joy Bomb and then type joy in the chat box when you're finished. All right, it looks like most of you guys are finished watching the video. This is a video from Soul Pancake. They have a lot of really cool stuff. I love their videos if you want to, watch some of those at another time. But imagine you're just going to work. You're just, it's a Monday, you take the elevator, you're just like, another boring Monday, right? I'm not really excited about being here. Well, imagine something like that happens. You take the time to dance around a little, sing a little bit. You go into the office with a big smile on your face, like, oh my God, guess what just happened in the elevator? And it might just change your whole outlook on the day. Just like, oh, that was fun. Like, what a kind of fun, playful way to like start my day, and kind of puts you in a good mood. And that can be contagious at times. And sometimes we're a little bit uptight and we're like, oh my God, what are these people doing? They're so weird. But like just allowing yourself to kind of go with it and have a little fun and not really caring what other people think can go a long way. Yeah, you just want to stay in the elevator. Okay, so I see some of you would just go with it. I wish I could do that, but I'm too shy. Yeah, Jennifer, I would probably be the same as you. I'd probably just be like, have this like awkward smile on my face, like, oh my gosh. But I'd be the kind of person that afterwards would go tell all my friends at work, like, oh my God, guess what just happened? James, don't make me sing in public. I can't do it. I can't. Or dance. I can't do it. But I can find, joy in doing other fun things. So that's kind of what this class is all about. Play brings us joy. For those of you who have kids or when you're around children, what do you notice about kids when they're playing? They are awesome. They are creative. I'm reading what you guys have in the chat box. They're smiling and laughing. They're noisy. They have no care in the world, genuine happiness. They're planning something. They engage. They're uninhibited, silly. They have energy. Yeah. Don't all those things sound amazing? Like, why don't we do that all the time? Right? Like, how much of your day do you feel those things? Yeah, it brings you back to how you felt when you were a kid, and you just like the most exciting thing was just like, oh my God, going to the playground and just playing and making up games and running around, right? So we do have adult responsibilities, Michael, I know. And I'm not telling you need to play all day, every day, right? Because then we wouldn't get anything done, right? We still got to eat, we got to work, we got to do, right? But if we cut play completely out of our lives, is definitely not helping anybody. So we need to learn about what the benefits of play are so that we try to actively do it in our life. James says, I'm 37, married with 3 kids, and I still have time to play. Awesome. And if you have kids, makes it easy, right? Because they're playing all the time. Like with my daughter, yes, she wakes me up at 6 a.m. sometimes, but usually the first 30 minutes we just play in her room, and we play with her dollhouse and play pretend and whatever it is. And, sometimes that's my play too, right? I'm having fun playing a game with her. So it brings us back to childhood, right? We know that there are multiple studies done and research that shows that children benefit from play, especially when it comes to learning. Children learn so much better when there's some element of play incorporated into it. Play also helps reduce stress in children because they're naturally drawn to it. It helps them not feel the weight of the world, which kids probably find out about a lot too soon. And it helps them be better behaved and learn how to interact with other kids socially. Unfortunately, there's a trend in education that focuses on all the standardized testing, constantly monitoring, measuring, quantifying what students learn. You got a 2 in your test in reading, and but this has forced teachers to spend time focusing on, teaching the children how to pass the test and reducing time or opportunities that children have to just explore and interact and learn on their own. So recess has, in a lot of places in Florida, completely vanished from the schedule entirely. I used to work in an elementary school 5 years ago before coming to Full Sail, and only kindergarten first graders had recess, where they were allowed to go out on the playground once a day and get out their energy and do whatever they wanted. How crazy is that? So you're telling me that 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th graders at this elementary school don't need that? But it was a school that was low rated, and they're trying to get a better rating, and they need to have those test scores up. So those kids just got all day instruction, and they had PE and things like that, but PE is the physical education is different, right? You're doing structured activities. I'm talking about the benefits of free play, where children can use their imaginations, where children can play with others, make up games, use their creativity. That's the kind of play I'm talking about. Emma says it's so sad, especially because Florida has amazing weather like 80% of the time. True. That is a good point. So we know that this is beneficial, and unfortunately, it's poor kids are being, their play is being stifled. So imagine how adults feel. Most adults feel. So let's talk about what play means for adults. Oops. Because we talked about a little bit in terms of children. So there's a book that we talk about in this class. It's in our references by Stuart Brown, and he wrote the book Play, How It Shapes the Brain, Opens the Imagination, and Invigorates the Soul. Really good book if you want to check it out. He's also the founder of the National Institute for Play. So he is the front runner in this play revolution, studying the benefit of adults and play. So he says there's not really one quick, easy way to define play because it's different for everyone, right? It's based on your experiences and what you enjoy. So he says play can fall into these 7 properties. So we're going to go through what they are now. So while we're doing this, think of your favorite play activity and see if it fits in with these qualities of play. So the first is apparently purposeless. So this sets play apart from other activities that are more goal-directed, like I'm doing XYZ to get Y, right? When you play, you're not trying to gain anything. You just play because you want to. It's fun, which is why people kind of say it's a waste of time, right? We're not going to get anything out of it. Why are we doing this? Well, because it feels good, because it brings us joy. That's why we're doing it. There's not a real purpose. We're just playing to play. That's one of the qualities. That's how you know it's play. It's voluntary. You're not forced to do it. You do it because you want to. You know, like I used to hate PE, physical education, because I was really not good at sports. So that for me was definitely not play. But when I had recess and I could go out on the playground and make up games and play hide and seek and tag and go down the slide and the monkey bars and make, castles out of mulch. I mean, this is what that was for fun and play for me. Emma says, we had mandatory fun on a youth retreat one time, and I thought that was such an oxymoron. Yeah, it's like, let's do a fun play team building activity. Sometimes those work, right? But not for everybody. Because some people are like, no, I'm being forced to play, and that's not fun. Inherent attraction. You play because it's fun. You're naturally drawn to the activity. You might not even know why you like it so much, but you just feel this connection to it. It's exciting, I kind of feel like this whenever I drive by a playground. I'm always like, ooh, what kind of slide do they have there? Ooh, and just like, because I'm the explorer play personality, so like exploring new playgrounds is fun for me. It's kind of like a hobby, and I didn't realize this until I had children and I went to playgrounds a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to go to the same playground again. I want to go to a different one. Check this one out. What kind of cool stuff do they have? And they have this cool tire swing, and this one has this big, huge curly slide, and I'm just inherently attracted to playgrounds for sure. They just something about them. I'm like, I want to go play. Now I can, and people don't look at me weird because I bring my kids. So that's fun. Freedom from time. So think about a time when you were engaged in an activity and you lost all sense of time while completing it. So like, let's say you look up from whatever you're doing. Maybe you're painting, or you're playing a game, or you're playing a sport, or recording a song, or whatever it is. And you're like, oh my gosh, 4 hours passed, but it felt like 10 minutes. That's an example of play. You're not thinking about what you have to do next. You're not thinking about time. You're just enjoying the moment. That's freedom from time. Has anyone ever felt like that before? And if so, what activity were you doing? You're like, oh my gosh, all this time's passed. In the studio, video games, art, dance, writing and recording music, playing The Sims, rock climbing, Zelda, art, video games. All right. So you're so engrossed in the activity and you're having so much fun. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was doing that for so long. Right? And so sometimes we have to set a timer or something if we have other things we needed to do, right? Because it's so engrossing. All right. So what's the next one? Diminish consciousness of self. What do you guys think this means? Or if you read the reading, you might know. You can tell me. Diminish consciousness of self. Chad says, not care how you look or act. Selfless while playing. Okay. It takes you out of your world, says Emma. Less self-critical, says David. Exactly. You guys are right on the right track. So just like losing track of time, some activities are so engaging that you kind of lose yourself for a minute. Like when you're playing Zelda, I know you guys were talking about Zelda, you become Zelda. and you are so into that game that you don't even realize you're you anymore. You're kind of just like so into the storyline and what's happening. That's diminished consciousness of self. You don't care if you look silly or goofy or stupid, you know? I love people that sing in their car. Who in here sings in their car and doesn't care if anyone's looking at them at the red light? Okay, Trinity, Catherine. Some people raise their hand. Okay, you guys do. I don't, but I always admire people because I'm like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me. But now I sing songs like nursery songs to my kids in the car, so I'm a little more able to have this diminished consciousness of self. But that's an example, right? You just like your favorite song comes on the radio and you just start jamming out and dancing in your seat and singing, and that's this feeling, right? You don't care how if you look silly or not. You're like, I love this song and I'm gonna enjoy it. Right. So you guys can kind of relate. Improvisational potential. What the heck does this mean? Improvisational potential. Has anyone ever been to an improv comedy show? Or watched? Oh gosh, what's that show called? Oh, it's been on for so long. Oh, what is it called? What is it? Yes! David, whose line is it anyway? Whose line is it anyway? If anyone's ever seen that show, it's an improv comedy show. The audience or the judge calls out characters, scenes, scenarios, and the actors have to, or the comedians have to just make up the scene from out of thin air, and it's hilarious. So this same thing happens when kids are playing. It's like my kids, like we play like where the floor is lava, and we got to put pillows down and we got to hop over the lava and then all of a sudden there's an alligator because this couch kind of looks like and you just kind of make things up as you go. You make up the rules. Oh, and now this is happening, right? That's improvisational potential. Your creativity is in full gear and you're just like, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and now what about this and this and this? You're not rigid. You're totally flexible. You're going with the flow of the play. And you're opening yourself up to new behaviors and ideas. So you can make changes. You're not so rigid. A lot of times adults have a hard time with this. We have like, this is the way I need to do things, A, B, C, D, in order to get to the end result. Well, if you were living a little bit more in your playful side and improvising, you might come up with ideas that you might haven't, ever thought of before. Right? So that's what improvisational potential is all about. Definitely something to strive for. Then our last one is continuation desire. Basically just means you want to continue doing it. You get pleasure out of it. You're going to find ways to make it happen. You love it. Okay? So this week you're going to be looking at, what do you guys play and does it fit in with these 7 qualities? Now, as adults, it's harder to engage in what's called true play because there's always a little part of us that might be focusing on, oh, I got to go to the grocery store after work, which you might be thinking about in the middle of your, singing in the car, right? Or you might not be able to have continuation desire because you really don't have time to play that game today, right? So there are times that you're not going to be in that true play, but you might your play activities might satisfy some of these categories. And David says, can we say, Mom, please, just 10 more minutes? I know. I'm sure we've all said that. I remember my mom used to shout for us because we'd be outside playing and she'd have to call us for dinner, and it was like we were just dreading that sound because we would just play out all night long. All right. Outside. Yes, we used to play outside back in the day. Chad. Okay. So let's talk about the characteristics of play. So play is more about your attitude behind the activity. It's not about the activity itself. It's not about basketball. It's about how you feel when you play basketball. It's about the journey, not the outcome, right? So if you have 6 people outside playing basketball, maybe only one of those 6 is really engaged in play and not really thinking about anything else but the enjoyment of being in the game. That's true play. Those other people might be like, I'm just here because I'm trying to get a workout, or I'm just here because, I don't really like this, but I want to hang out with my friends, or whatever it is. So you might have different intentions. So play is more about your attitude behind the activity, but it doesn't have to be all or none. Obviously children are more likely to be engaged in true play. And as adults, like I said, we have other things on our mind. So obviously we can't always do that. But it's all about your attitude. So if you go into a play activity, have an open mind, have a good attitude about it, and it's going to be more enjoyable. And you're going to be more motivated during that activity. Okay. So we're going to move on from playground slides to little Danbo. He is a cute little robot guy that takes adorable pictures. So he's going to be in my slides next. Wanted to change it up. So play history and personality. What is your play history? What the heck does that mean? Well, look back in your crystal ball. What did you play when you were a child? What was your favorite thing to do? Go ahead and type in the chat box. Legos! Sleep, video games. I'm reading what you guys are writing. Hide and seek. Oh my god, my kids love hide and seek. Barbie, pretend, playing in the dirt, dress up, Nintendo, hiking, trampoline, play in the woods, skateboarding, PlayStation, freeze tag. A lot of different things. Legos, handball, kickball. Right, and that might not be one favorite. You might have had more than one. Arts and crafts, mountain hiking, hide and seek with my dad, dancing with my sister, nonstop, caving. And I bet you guys have these wonderful images in your mind right now of yourself just being free and doing these activities and how happy you were. Well, what can your play history teach you? What can you take away from that? Miss those days, other than just a nostalgic longing for those days. Well, so for example, when I was a kid, I was always outside playing. I loved being outside. You couldn't pay me to stay inside and play. Like, I'd be upset if it was a rainy day. So I would make mud pies and soups, and like I was always like pretending with, sticks and, just kind of making gross stuff like that. But I really liked it. And how does that translate into my adult life? Well, it turns out I really like cooking. For me, like just kind of inventing stuff. Like I don't really like to follow a recipe. I just kind of like put a little bit of this, put a little bit of this. And luckily, most of the time it turns out pretty good. So doesn't taste like dirt anymore, Chad. So thank God for that. My husband would not be happy. So that's something else. I know Emma said like she liked to play dress up. I love playing dress up. Like I had all the princess dresses and I just wanted to, wear the little high heels, those little fake little plastic things. And, that was fun for me, like dressing up as different characters, that kind of thing. And what do I like to do now? Well, definitely not going to lie. I like to go shopping and try on clothes and buy them and wear them and get dressed up. So it kind of translates into my adult life. So think about the things that you like to do. I know a lot of you guys said video games, so you might probably play video games, just maybe more adult video games than when you were a little kid, right? But knowing your play history can kind of help you maybe see like, hey, if I'm not really connected with play as an adult, maybe I can look back into the past. Like if I liked playing with Legos, I bet I would probably like building things or maybe rearranging the furniture in my house to make it feng shui, or making garden boxes outside to plant vegetables. I don't know. I'm just like literally making things up right now. So you have to do that for yourself, right? What did you play? How can that translate into adult life? Kind of thing. Okay? So that's the first step. Play personalities. What? What is your play personality? Well, we need to know what they are first. So, raise your hand. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Raise your hand if you did the readings about the play personalities. Okay, not many of you. All right, so then I'm just going to explain what they are since you probably didn't watch the video yet. Okay, so the first one is the Joker play personality, aka Chad in this class. So, this is a person who loves to joke around. As a child, they might have been the class clown. They might have been the one that was always telling jokes, playing pranks, making everybody laugh. And as adults, they pretty much just do the same thing, right? Always trying to have a good time, being silly, right? That's pretty straightforward, the Joker. Another play personality is called the kinestet. So these are people who like to move. These could be athletes, people that find themselves happiest when they're dancing, swimming, walking, running, football, yoga, dance, jump rope, I don't know, whatever it is, they like to move their bodies around. So this person might like play a sport, but they like the actual playing of the sport, not necessarily the competition. That's not the main focus of their reason for liking that. Running, yeah, says Emma. Okay, so we got some kinestets in here. Basketball, running, yep. So you need to like move. And I bet you like guys that are like that probably are like fiddling like in your chair, like bouncing around. Or maybe like, if you're a kinestet, you might want to like walk around while listening to GTT on your phone or moving around, right? Because you might need to help that. Playing with your headphones cord. Yeah, oh my gosh, you guess what I'm playing with right now? See if anyone can tell what this is. What is this? Yay, someone got it. Emma's like, silly putty. I know. So I have like so many different silly putties at my desk. I have like a huge tin, like one that's like 2 hands. Like this is like my one that I play with during go-to training. So I have to play with something all the time and it's like relaxing to me. So I haven't gotten into the fidget spinner thing, though. I don't like it. It kind of makes me like dizzy if I like stare at it for a little while. Clicking your pens, yeah. Anyway, side note. But yeah, sometimes kinestets like to do that too. What's next? What's next? I mentioned this one already a couple times because this is my main play personality is the explorer. So kind of examining the world around you. When kids like to play outside and go new places or explore different playgrounds or neighborhoods, or it could even be something emotional, like, not everyone likes physical exploring, like traveling, but it could be emotional, like searching for like a new feeling or a deepening of understanding or music or meeting new people. You just want to like new experiences. Then you're probably an explorer. What else do we have? The competitor. I don't know if we have any competitors in here, but these are people who break, the creativity of play by just wanting to compete. They like rules, they like playing to win, they like to be number one, they like games, keeping score. Like these are the people that like you get stressed out playing Monopoly with. And they're like it turns into like a 5-hour game. And you're like, "Can we just go to bed?" Right? So these games can be solitary, like if you're playing a video game by yourself, or it could be a social activity like baseball or a sport where you're competing as part of a team. Or it could even be like, these are people in your workplace that are always like, I'm going to be at the top. I'm going to make the most sales calls today, you know. So it might translate into different areas of your life. Any competitors in here? Emma said, someone asked earlier if you could be multiple play personalities or if you can only be one. Good question. Yes, you can be multiple play personalities. You might even see a little bit of each of these in your personality. You might say, I'm a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I'm not really this one, right? But you might have one or two that you really connect with. Like if you were to look at all the different things that you like to play as a child and as an adult, they might fit into more of one than the other type thing. So yes, you can have multiple play personalities. Then we have the director. I'm also a director. See, I can relate to this one too. Because I always used to be like, let's play teacher. I'm the teacher and you're the student. Or let's play, mom and dad and family. And like, this is what we're going to do. And then let's go here. And like, I used to love like just kind of being in charge. And, that's probably why I ended up being a teacher, right? Because it's kind of the same kind of feeling that I get when I'm teaching. But you kind of like to be organized. These people, they're usually the people that are always the planners in the group. They might plan the vacations. Um, they like kind of like figuring things out. Or at their worst, they could be on a power trip, which can happen, you know. Think of directors of movies. Sometimes they love the power a little bit too much. That can happen. The social coordinators, Emma said, yep, that's me. I'm definitely the planner of our group. Like if I don't invite everybody to do something with my friends, like it just won't happen. So that's how it benefits me. Okay, what's next? We have the collector. So this person likes to collect things, obviously, pretty straightforward. And they just have like the desire, they just have the desire to collect objects. Like there's one of the instructors that likes to collect WWE belts or Star Wars things, or like Brian said, movies or comic books as Joseph. Right, so we have some collectors in here. Yeah, but then some of us might not relate to that. We're like, Jabe said, my 11-year-old son is a hoarder. I mean, collector. Yeah, to some of us, it might be like, why do you need so many of these things that are all pretty much the same? But for that person, that's what they enjoy. It brings them joy. Right? That's collector personality. Then we have the artist creator. I'm sure we probably have a lot of this personality in our classes because these people enjoy making things, painting, woodworking, pottery, art, sculpture, making games, knitting, sewing, photography, gardening. It could be any of these things. And these are people that might enjoy this as like a hobby, something they don't really share with the outside world, but other people might be like, this is my job. I'm a photographer and I do it for a living and this is my play personality, right? I'm sure a lot of people in here can relate. We're all creators. Probably, I would guess that. Yep, that's why you're at Full Sail. That's right. You guys are the creative types. All right, and then our last one is a storyteller. So this is a person that uses their imagination a lot, right? This is a novelist or a playwright or a cartoonist or a screenwriter, a storyteller, right? Any of those types of things. But it could also be someone who dances, like a dance performance that they're telling a story with their body, or acting, or magician, like all these different types of things. They kind of tell a story, right? Game designer, yeah, because you're all focused on the storyline, right, of the game. Oh, yep, and if you're making a film, following the storyline, exactly. I did not take all the pictures of Danbo. These are from a Creative Commons license site that I got from, but apparently there's like a million pictures of Danbo that exist, so this is like a thing. But he's cute, so. All right. So what is your play personality? Hopefully you've identified at least one that you can connect with. Maybe, like we said, multiple ones. But let's go watch a quick little video in the material section. Watch the movie clip, dance off, and then type dance in the chat box when you guys are finished. All right, looks like most of you guys are finished watching, but you get the idea. Yes, there's a lot of these movies, but I just wanted to show this because let's see if you guys can tell me what play personalities do you see in this clip? Which play personalities? Director says Michael. And why, I should say. Storytelling, kinesthetic, storyteller. Yeah, they're definitely telling a story with their movement of their bodies, right? They're not just dancing randomly. It's kind of, there's emotion behind it and meaning, right? Director, well, I guess director could possibly be if it was whoever choreographed it, right? But they're not really like one person is in charge. They're kind of working together more. Competitive, yep, because they're competing against each other to dance off. And I think someone else said the other one that I was thinking, which was storytelling. Kinesthetic. Obviously, they love moving with their bodies because not everyone can dance like that. That's for sure. All right, so you get the idea of the play personalities. If this is something that you connect with, feel free to write about that in questions 5 and 6 this week on the discussion board. Talk about what your play personality is, what it means, give examples. You know, that would be an easy way to answer those questions. All right, play as adults. So, what does this mean? Well, we've been talking about this already, but let's talk about the research, because there's actually research done on this topic of how play is beneficial for adults. So how is it? What does it say, the research? And all the research and sources are in the bottom of the readings in case you want to do some further digging into this. So play connects us to others. So research shows that play can build and strengthen our sense of community. It can help us improve the quality of our relationships when we play together, right? So think about, let's say, for example, like sometimes I have disagreements with my husband, right? And we're just like kind of like nagging at each other, like this morning because he didn't make the coffee before he went to bed at night, and I woke up at 6 a.m. and there was no coffee in the pot, and I was like, so we were just kind of like at each other a little bit. But I've noticed that like if we take the time to just kind of be silly and goofy with each other instead of naggy, it really does help the relationship. It helps us both be in a little bit of a better mood and have a little bit of fun, or play with our kids and have fun and just do something together. So definitely it can help us connect with others, being playful. Play also has been shown to foster creativity, flexibility, and learning, because we get really curious when we're playing, right? We're like, ooh, what's this about? Like, you want to discover, you want to create, your imagination is going. And that's also going to help you be better at problem solving when your brain is kind of using that that creative side. And play can actually help reduce your stress. It can help you be more productive, right? If you take a break to play because you're feeling stressed, you're going to not only feel less stressed, but then you're going to go be able to focus back on what you were doing, the task at hand, with a little bit better attitude and maybe like a little bit of a mental break, right? You're more fun to be around. You might come up with creative ideas all of a sudden that you've never seen before, right? And these things are going to help you guys in your, be successful in your industries that are very creative, right? Helps open you up, says Jessie. Good example. Play is also an antidote to loneliness, isolation, anxiety, and depression. Big things. Mental health, right? Anxiety, depression, very common. Most people have experienced a slight feelings of this multiple times in their life, right? Play is something that can help get you through those anxious times or when you're feeling down, right? When we play vigorously, I mean, you just like go all at it, right? You're going to trigger endorphin rush in your brain, which is changing the chemicals in your brain and giving you kind of a buffer from that pain or fear or burdens that are bothering you, and kind of lift your mood. Now, it doesn't last forever, right? And we might need to do that multiple times and do some other things to help, but play can definitely be a part of a self-care plan, for sure. Play also teaches you perseverance. Think about when you're playing a game, right? The reward of just learning how to play the game, right? And then getting to the next level and beating that boss and beating the game, right? That's teaching you that, like, if you work hard and you keep going, that you're going to be successful, or at least work really hard and learn that you can keep trying, keep going. And perseverance is a trait that's necessary to healthy adulthood. And we learn that largely through play. Like, you really want to get to the top of that tree and climb to the very tippy top, but it might take you a few times before you get to the top, right? Play also makes us happy. Besides all that research, it just has been shown that it definitely it boosts our mood. Play is a state of being that is happy and joyous. Okay? So laughing, smiling, just enjoying yourself. It feels good, right? Pretty simple, but definitely important. A little play goes a long way. Now, I'm not telling you guys you need to go outside all day long, play, 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 play. No, that would probably be too much, right? All you need is a little bit. A little bit can go a long way towards boosting our productivity and happiness. So that's why it's in your plan every day. Stuart Brown says, the opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. When do you feel the happiest? Is when there's variety, change, when you're challenged? Because if you're burdened by an overwhelming sense of responsibility, then that's going to decrease your happiness, right? Play is often looked down on at work. Who really wants to work with someone who's miserable? Guys know someone like that? Someone who has tunnel vision. They're always negative, and they can't see new and exciting ideas. They hate change because they're like, oh, why do we have to change this? Like, that's just more work. But people that play, they see things completely different. We learn that play can bring joy, which obviously is going to lower our stress, make us more productive, make us more of a pleasure to be around. So stopping and taking a break to play when you feel like yourself and you're having a hard day, it's going to make life easier for you. Everyone's play is different. Some of you might already know what you like to play. You're like, I got this. It's going to be really easy to incorporate this into my daily life on my plan. Some of you might be thinking, I need to get that back into my life. Like, I don't think I'm really playing enough. Like, or I'm not getting out. I don't feel these things that, she's talking about. So what else do I need to do? So for those people, I'm going to help you out. Here are some tips to have some more playtime, okay? Reconnect with play. Just like we talked about play history, right? Think of something you did as a kid and do it again, just to get back in touch with that feeling. And see if there's something that reminds you of that you can do, and not like be outside making mud pies. But maybe you want to be outside making mud pies. Sure, go for it. But I encourage you to look back in time for clues. Change how you think of play. Get rid of the guilt that you're wasting your time. Remember all the things that we talked about and all the benefits. And let that say, okay, my teacher told me I'm allowed to play, right? So I'm going to play. Don't feel bad about it. Take a play history. I just kind of said this, I guess. Think about what you do as a child, how that relates to you now. Surround yourself with playful people. Okay? Friends, loved ones, a positive environment of people that enjoy playing is going to help you too. So find some people to play with. Play with little ones or pets. If you know any children, have any children or animals, play with them, because we can experience the magic of play through their perspective. I might not always want to play Barbies with my daughter, but sometimes I get really into it and I am able to kind of lose track of time and really enjoy myself. So kids can help us, experience that again, and so can animals. Although my cat is very she's not very playful, unfortunately. So, I don't know. But dogs, most dogs I think are pretty playful. All right. So there's just some tips for you guys if you are wanting to reconnect with your playful side. Let's watch another quick little, well, I think it's a few minutes video. You don't believe me that adults can play? Well, this guy that I've found, he has a website called neverleavetheplayground.com. And he is like the coolest old dude. I just want to like hang out with him and be friends with him. So go to the chat box, materials section, and watch Never Leave the Playground, and then type playground in the chat box when you're finished. Okay. Pretty eccentric guy, but he is definitely young at heart. He knows the value of play for his mental and physical well-being. Folly Downey is the best part. Yeah, he's pretty awesome. So if he could do it, we could do it, right? I mean, or at least to some degree. Maybe not exactly the things that he's doing, but just kind of a fun little video to show you how this can happen. People can live their life this way, right? So hopefully you enjoyed today's session. We talked about the class. Hopefully you had your questions answered about all of the assignments. We talked about play personalities, your play history, the qualities of play, lots of good stuff. So, any questions before we wrap up? Can we access these videos outside this lecture? Yes. So, oh yes, and David, how old did they say he is? I'll answer that in a second. Yeah, he's in his 70s. I think he's older now. That video is a little bit dated by a couple years. So he's probably like 75 now. Anyway, so yes, the links that we watched today, as well as the link of this recording, I'm going to upload it as soon as we're finished here. So it should be within the next couple hours. You'll see it. So when you go in back into the live lecture activity, okay, and click on, you'll see access the recording here or something along those lines. You click on that, it's going to take you to a Google Doc. And each week that's where you'll find the links for the recording. So you can watch it as many times as you'd like. All right. Any other questions before I shut this down? All right. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and thank you guys for participating in the chat box and hanging out with me. Have a great day.